Warm welcome to everyone. Today I'm going to speak some few words on periapical radiopacities. Periapical radiopacities can be classified as true periapical radiopacities, those periapical radiopacities that in contact with the teeth, and false periapical radiopacities where the periapical radiopacities are not in contact with the tooth. Coming to the classification of periapical radiopacities contacting the teeth include idiopathic osteosclerosis, condensing osteitis, mature stages of periapical cemental dysplasia, unerupted succedaneous tooth, hypercementosis, cementoblastoma, chronic osteomyelitis. Some of the odontogenic tumors that are associated with calcifications include calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor, also called the Pinbourg tumor, amyloblastic fibroodontoma, calcifying odontogenic cyst, and florid cementosseous dysplasias. The periapical radiopacities that are not in contact with the teeth and are also called false periapical radiopacities because of the projection of the radiopacity onto the periapical region of the teeth include tori, calcified submandibular lymph nodes, osteomas, some of the ectopic calcifications that involve phlebolith, silolith, rhinolith, antrolith. The true periapical radiopacities that are in contact with the teeth. Idiopathic osteosclerosis is the term idiopathic refers to unknown cause. The tooth neither have dental caries nor it is periodontically compromised. The tooth is asymptomatic. Accidentally, it is discovered on the radiographs. Presence of idiopathic osteosclerosis can inhibit orthodontic tooth movement. Condensing osteitis. It is a condition that arises from chronic dental caries. A chronic persistent dental caries can cause low-grade inflammation of the periapical region. Thus, it stimulates the thickening of the normal trabecular pattern and there is increase in the number of trabecular units per unit area. The mature stages of periapical cemental dysplasia can occur as periapical opacities on the radiographs. A localized change in normal bone metabolism that results in resorption of normal cancellous bone and replacement with fibrous tissue and amorphous bone, an abnormal bone trabeculae or mixture of two, commonly affects the females around 39 years of age. The involved teeth are usually vital. There won't be any pain or sensitivity of the teeth. It is also an incidental finding in the radiographs. Unerupted succedaneous tooth also appear as periapical radiopacities. Such teeth have open apex, incomplete closure of the apical foramen. Cementoblastoma, also called true cementoma, also appear as periapical radiopacities. Such teeth usually have open apex. Hypercementosis refers to excessive deposition of cementum on the root surface. It is mainly caused by inflammation due to heavy occlusal forces or fractured teeth. Generalized hypercementosis is seen in Paget's disease. Hypercementosis is also noticed in patients with acromegaly. Patients with hypercementosis are usually asymptomatic and they incidentally appear as bulbous enlargement of the apical third of the root, such as in the picture. Submandibular silolith, salivary stones that occur in the submandibular salivary gland duct, namely the Wharton's duct, appear as projected or false periapical radiopacity around the periapical region of the mandibular molar. They vary in shape as long cigar or oval or round in shape. Usually they have a homogeneous radiopaque internal structure. Always remember the initial stages of xylolith, they appear more radiolucent, whereas only the mature, chronic, long-standing xylolith, the salivary gland, can appear as periapical radiopacity. Calcification sometimes can occur within the maxillary antrum or the maxillary sinus, referred to as antrolith. It is a discrete calcification that occur as a result of deposition of mineral salts such as calcium phosphate, calcium carbonate, and magnesium around the nidus within the stagnated mucus within the maxillary sinus. The term rhinolith refers to calcifications occurring within the nasal cavity. Small antroliths are asymptomatic, discovered as incidental finding on radiographs. Large antrolith can cause obstruction resulting in sinusitis, blocked, stained nasal discharge, nasal obstruction, facial pain. They usually have a well-defined periphery and irregular outline. The internal structure is appear homogeneous or heterogeneously radiopaque. Rhinolith refers to stones within the nasal cavity. Usually, it arises as a foreign body reaction. Small or asymptomatic, large rhinolith have nasal obstruction, pain, headache, halitosis, and fever. The term phlebolith refers to calcified thrombi found in the veins, venulae, or sinusoidal vessels. It is also one of the diagnostic markers for cavernous hemangioma. Usually occur as multiple radiopaque masses along one side of the face. Can be round or oval in cross section up to 6 millimeter in diameter with a smooth periphery. Odontomas are hematomatous malformations characterized by the production of mature enamel, dentin, cementum, and pulp tissue, which are seen in various stages of histodifferentiation and morphodifferentiation. When not resembling the teeth, complex odontoma. So when the calcified structure do not resemble teeth-like structure, it is referred to as complex odontoma. A compound odontoma is one when the calcified structures resemble multiple well-formed teeth-like structures. Mandibular tori can also appear as a periapical radiopacity. It is an hyperostosis that protrudes from the lingual aspect of mandibular alveolar process, usually near the premolar teeth. Usually symmetrical and bilateral, can also be unilateral. Usually, the contrast of the tori blends with that of the adjacent bone. Hence, a maximum number of mandibular tori do not appear on the radiographs. Sometimes it appears as a radiopaque shadow that is superimposed on the roots of the mandibular premolar region. The margins usually blend with the adjacent bone. No treatment is indicated unless a denture is planned in the mandible, the premolar region. Dense bone islands refers to localized growth of compact bone that develop within the cancellous bone. They are usually asymptomatic, occur in the mandible near the premolar and molar region. The periphery usually blends with that of the trabecula of the adjacent bone, can cause external root resorption and also inhibit eruption of the teeth and even displace the teeth. Calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor is a rare tumor located within the bone and produces a mineralized substance within amyloid-like material and contains strands or sheets of polyhedral epithelial cells in fibrous stroma. Men, more common, 8 to 92 years of age. Average age of occurrence is 42 years. The only symptom is jaw expansion, the mandibular premolar molar area. 52% of the cases are associated with unerupted or impacted tooth. Radiographs reveal a radiolucency around the crown of mature unerupted tooth. The periphery usually reveals a well-defined cyst-like cortex. The most characteristic feature is the presence of radiopacities close to the crown of the embedded tooth, resembling a driven snow appearance. Calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor can displace the developing tooth or prevents its eruption. Cortical expansion occurs with intact cortical boundary. Ameloblastec fibro-odontoma is another odontogenic tumor. It has a mixed component of epithelium and mesenchyme with scattered collections of enamel and dentin. This particular tumor is also often associated with missing tooth or tooth that has failed to erupt. Commonly occur in the posterior mandibular region, usually well defined, sometimes corticated. Most often associated with the impacted tooth. The small lesion appear as enlarged follicles with one or two small discrete radiopacities. In some, the small calcification appear like a donut. Sometimes can be confused with odontoma. Calcifying odontogenic cyst, also called Garland cyst or dentogenic ghost cell tumor, is an uncommon slow-growing benign lesion affecting the jaw. Sometimes they manufacture a calcified tissue containing dysplastic dentin and appear more solid, mimicking ameloblastoma. The mean age of occurrence is 36 years. Usually, they appear as slow-growing, painless swelling of the jaw. Occasionally, patient may complain of pain. In some cases, the expanding lesion may destroy the cortical plate and the cystic mass becomes palpable as it extends into the soft tissue. The patient may report a discharge from the advanced lesions. Aspiration reveal a viscous granular yellow fluid. 75% occur anterior to first molar region, especially associated with cuspids and the incisors. The internal aspect may show evidence of small foci of calcified material that appear as white flecks or small smooth pebbles, or it may show even large solid amorphous masses. Usually impedes the eruption of the cuspid. Displacement of teeth and resorption of roots may occur. Perforation of the cortical plate occur with enlarging lesions. The main treatment is by surgical enucleation, curettage, and periodic radiographic evaluation. Florid cementosseous dysplasia is a benign fibroosseous lesion which is multifocal dysplastic lesion of the jaw consisting of cellular fibrous connective tissue with bone and cementum-like tissue. Osteoma is a tumor occurring at any age older than 40 years. It is mainly consisting of compact and cancellous bone. The only complaint is facial asymmetry caused by bony hard swelling of the jaw. Usually it is painless unless grows in an enormous size that interfere with occlusion. Osteomers are attached by a cortex along a wide base. The mucosa covering the osteoma usually appears normal and stretched. The cortical type of osteomas are more common in women. The cancellous type are more common in women. Small osteomas are asymptomatic. If a osteoma occur in the frontoethmoidal region, can cause severe damage to the skull. In mandible, the most common site of osteoma include the lingual surface of the ramus, inferior border of the mandible below the molar region, coronoid, condylar process, frontal sinus. Usually they have a well-defined periphery. Compact osteomas are uniformly radiopaque. Cancellous osteomas have an internal trabecular structure. Sometimes osteoma can displace the adjacent soft tissue such as the muscle and cause dysfunction. Sclerotic bone reaction can occur around them. Chronic osteomyelitis can appear as periapical radiopacity, can develop after prolonged traumatic dental extraction. The island or sequestrum of dead bone can detach and extends beyond the periapical region of the tooth, causing periapical radiopacity. In chronic osteomyelitis usually have an extraoral sinus on the skin, facial skin. The characteristic calcification occurring along the path of insertion of the masticatory muscle fibers is referred to as myositis ossificans. This can also occur as a periapical radiopacity. Usually, the masticatory muscle is involved. If the masticatory muscle is involved, patients will have trismus. It is usually caused by formation of bone tissue inside the strained or damaged muscle fibers from severe function or trauma to the muscle. Thank you.